everybody, this is Andrew Atkins with Backwoods Life TV. I have a question here from Chris Reckner from Boswell, Pennsylvania. And his question is, how do you score a buck? Now, if the question is, how do I personally score a buck, I have three options. One is, I see a buck and I say, oh, there's a deer. Two is, tap the camera guy or the camera guy and say, hey, let's get the binoculars and take a look at that deer. And three, like Big Mike said, is, oh my gosh, there's no question, there's no doubt. That's how I score it. Now, if the question is really how do you officially score a buck, here's how we do it. And normally, we're bow hunting, so obviously we're going to use the Pope and Young scoring. And so I'm going to show you today just sort of how we do it, but I'm going to point you to the resource to get the information that you need to do it yourself. So you'll notice that I'm not in Realtree camo this morning, and the reason is because I needed to come to my office so that I could pull the website up so I could show you the sheet. So I'm going to switch gears real quick, and I'm going to show you the sheet, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through the basics of it so that you can get it, so that you can go get the sheet yourself and you can score your buck. So because we normally are bow hunting, I wanted to show you the Pope and Young scoring sheet and just give you some information about it. And then I'm going to just point you to where you can go, because they've got a great set of instructions on how to really score a deer. This particular sheet is how to score a typical white-tailed deer, but they also have a sheet for non-typical, and you can they really lay it out well, and you can just go follow the instructions. You can get this sheet at pope-young.org, and you just go find the whitetail, either typical or non-typical, and just pull out the sheet. You can print it off, and then you just score the deer according to the instructions. A couple of things you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need to print this off, and then you also need either some sort of a flexible measuring tape, like something a seamstress would use, or you need a long piece of string that's flexible. And the reason you need it to be flexible is because you've got to go around these curves on the rack itself, and so you need to be able to get exact measurements down to to 1/8 of an inch. But let me just walk through. I'm just going to kind of tell you the things that you need to measure, and then you can read, and they give you the details on how to do it. So the first thing you need to do is obviously you need to count the number of points on each side of the rack. So you're going to count 1, 2. That's why they call it G2. G1, G2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on out. Hopefully you have more than that. And then you're going to measure the tip-to-tip spread, which is right here, item B, just between the tips on the inside. And then you're going to measure the greatest spread on the rack, which is C here, so you're going to go outside to outside. Then you're going to measure the inside spread of the main beam, which is here, so you're going to go to the widest point on the main beam and measure across. Then you measure the total length of the abnormal points, and the abnormal points, they show you here E. So anything that's not on what you would call a typical rack. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These extra pieces that stick out, those are the abnormal points, and you're going to measure the length of those. And my screen just went dead. So give me a minute and I'll fix that. Where were we? Length of the main beam. So this is where you really need that flexible tape. So this is item F, and you're going to measure from the burr all the way around up to the tip. You're going to measure that on each side, and then you're going to measure the length of the normal points. So you're going to measure length of all the points and add those up and put them in there. And then you're going to measure 4 circumference measurements, and they've got them marked really well, and it's really the narrowest point on each of these items. So you're going to measure here, you're going to measure this H1 between the burr and the first point you're going to measure, H2 you're going to measure between the first and second, 3 between the second and third, 4 between the third and fourth. And then you just basically just enter, and they've got all these spots that you just enter all the information in. Right antler, left antler, and then you just total it up, There are some subtractions here and there that you gotta take into account, and then once you do that, you just add it up, and that will give you the score of your typical white-tailed deer. So I hope that's been helpful. I don't want to get too much into the details of it because it's very well explained there, and you can go to Pope and Young or you can go to Boone and Crockett, and they've got scoring sheets. There are a lot of different scoring ways to score, get different scores. I know Buckmasters has their own. But normally we would use Pope and Young or Boone and Crockett because those are the typicals. And I hope that's helpful. This is Andrew Atkins with Backwoods Life TV. Thanks.